if any of you have a song in your heart that you really want to share with us right now, could you wait until the end of my talk, and then you can start singing, if you so wish. Okay. So, as of today, the 30th of May, 2015, there are approximately 150,662 days until the end of coal. The average person uses approximately 57 sheets of toilet paper in a day. Britons tend to eat twice as many baked beans as anybody else in the world. In a survey in the USA, they found out that the people who are most likely to deliberately litter are between the ages of 18 and 34. There are approximately 9 million bicycles in Beijing, and that is a fact. In 1983, a bunch of researchers in the USA counted the number of troubles in the world, and they came up with the number 2,653. Your body is made up of 70% water. You probably heard that one before. At any given time, 23% of Britons are feeling very happy, and 47% are feeling fairly happy. And in fact, 7 out of 10 facts are completely made up. Okay. The thing with numbers is they're great, but you can put them away. Things are easier to process when I give you numbers. I can say, I give you a statistic, you can put it in your head, there you go, it's gone. That's really troubling when we talk about people. So during World War II, there were 3 guys chatting in a room. You might know who they are, Churchill, Roosevelt, Stalin. You might have heard of them. And they were sitting down discussing war tactics. And they were discussing the idea of opening a new front in France. And Churchill said, no, we can't, it's a waste of lives. And you probably heard this before, but Stalin famously retorts, well, when 1 person dies, it's a tragedy, but when 1 million die, it is but a statistic. So, 90% of malaria cases across the world occur in Africa. 3,000 African children die each day from its effects. There are 1 billion children in poverty. There are 2,744 people sleeping on the streets of England and Wales. And there are 27 million slaves. So, if you wanted to, if you were partial, you could look up all the death certificates in Africa and you could say, okay, this percentage died of malaria. If you wanted to, you could go out on the streets and you could say, you can count the amount of people sleeping rough. The problem here is the 27 million slaves. You can't do that. You see, that number has been thrown around a lot, but it was a number that was thrown around in the UN in about 2004 in a back room in a conference somewhere. Someone just took a stab in the dark, went, roughly 27 million. And that is where that statistic comes from. And we use it and we use it and we use it, but it has no founding. And the reason it has no founding is for 3 key reasons. Firstly, there are still governments in this world that refuse to believe that human trafficking occurs in their country. For example, in Hong Kong, it was only a few years ago that they actually acknowledged it to be a problem for them. It was despite there were many other charities that were working with them and working in the area to, telling them that this is a problem, showing them people saying, this is a problem, but they refuse to acknowledge it. Secondly, when someone is trafficked, they are taken illegally from one place to another. You are then in that place that you don't know anyone, you have no family, you have no friends, you have no security. The only person you know is the person that is trafficking you. That's the only person you can trust in this situation. So when you think that you can't escape, you probably can't speak the language, and if you're, say, in Hong Kong a few years ago, you go to the police, you escape miraculously, you run out, you go out to policemen, they're not going to recognize that you exist. And thirdly, I like to point out the wording, illegal. You become an illegal immigrant in that country, and you have the rights of which is hardly any. So not only do you not have your family, your friends, any source of security or comfort, but you're also illegal. And if you're in a place where the government doesn't acknowledge your existence, you're pretty screwed. So when we start talking about numbers, I think we should be talking about people. So instead of focusing on the million, we should be focusing on the one. So I've got a couple of stories, first-hand accounts that I'm going to read for you. So the first one is a girl who was trafficked in England. She said, 2 years ago, everything changed. I was trafficked. I was fooled. I was deceived by a man who said that he loved me. The tragedy is that I believed him. Now I know that love is not shown by forcing me to work on the streets, beating me up, force-feeding me and turning me into someone with no mind of my own. I had become like a frightened rabbit. I was terrified that he would kill me. Death too often felt like my only way to escape. People are product, and I was one of them, but I am a survivor. I have a new life, but I am haunted by the faces of those who used me, those who did not choose, those who I was nothing but a 10-minute thing. And the second girl I'm going to talk to you about is a girl called Sophia from Cambodia. She was 12 years old when she was trafficked. And she said, a friend of my cousin sold me. She asked me if I could babysit for a few days, and when I got there, she asked me to carry her baby while she visited her siblings. So I carried her baby into the house. But it was a trick. She had taken me to a brothel. She took money from the brothel owners and left me there. She said that she would come back to get me, but she never came back. That lady has since died of HIV. At first, they didn't make me have sex with them, but they gave me food and took care of me. They injected me with drugs, telling me that these would make me beautiful. I don't know what drugs they were, but it made me feel happy. After 1 month of this, they forced me to have sex with the customers. At first, they asked me in a nice voice, telling me I could earn money while I do this. I refused, so they beat me with a gun until I agreed to do it. The customers beat me also, and I realized I had no way out of this situation. I was never allowed to refuse the customers, even if I was sick. Some customers beat me with their gun if I refused or asked them to wear a condom. They threatened to kill me lots of times. I was so afraid. I was afraid that I would catch a disease because customers would not wear a condom. In the end, I did catch HIV. People told me about the disease and dying of HIV, and I felt so scared. During the time I became pregnant and had a son, he is HIV positive. And I could not care for him, so I took him to my mother to raise him, as she cares for him in the province. At first, I was desperate to escape, but after a while, I realized that I had nowhere to go, so I stayed there. I wanted to go home, but I was too ashamed to face my family. I never received money for my sex work. The pimp took all of my money from the customers. I had no hope, and I was full of fear. It was hard to breathe. I had no self-worth. I didn't want to live. Sometimes I tried to buy sleeping pills to try and kill myself, as I had heard that if you take a lot, you can die. But the pharmacist would not sell me a lot, only 2 pills at a time. Every day I had nightmares, and I could not sleep. I always seemed to have a fever too. I had panic attacks and intense fears. So I think when we start talking about problems and we start talking about human issues, we shouldn't put them into numbers. As cliche as it sounds, we are not numbers. We are people. We are more complex than statistics could ever tell us. So although statistics are quite fun and persuading, and you're constantly being thrown at them when you're being advertised at, but I feel like we are, as people, more than statistics, and we need to start relating to each other as more as people than statistics. So I think we need to start talking about the tragedy and not the statistic. Thank you very much.